manga-style storytelling. I'm going to set up this scene for you real quick. Actually, I'm going to temporarily move this pad of paper and take advantage of my easel. Make it a little easier for me to read this. So I'm going to set this up for you as fast as I can. Miki and Hiro, it's a story of forbidden love. And we'll just leave it at that. It's sort of like Romeo and Juliet, right? They're not supposed to be together, and yet they are. And they're hiding out way up in the mountains of Japan. And Miki, in this scene, has gone into a coffee shop. She's having a cup of tea. She's all by herself. But she knows that they are always in danger. She and Hiro, the boy. They are always in danger of being discovered by these guys called the Deliverers. And the Deliverers are intent on capturing them and separating them forever. Okay, that's basically all you need to know. She's in the coffee shop, and suddenly the door opens, and there's this kajangle. It's like these bells. You know, sometimes they have like a bell on the door that you know, wakes up the person who's running the place or whatever. The customers have arrived. So she looks up, and the woman says, "Irashaimase." Now, that's a Japanese phrase. It means, "Welcome to my place of business." It's sort of a basic Japanese phrase. "Please, sit anywhere you like." No, thanks. We're just here to ask a few questions. Question? Yes, we're wondering if you've seen these people in the area recently. Teenagers. A boy and a girl. Okay, so we zoom in a little bit on Miki's face, and that sort of tells us everything we need to know. He's holding a photograph here. And the woman says, "Hold on, I'll get my glasses. I can't see a thing without them." Deliverers. Deliverers. "So why are you looking for these kids? Are they in trouble?" "You could say that, ma'am. They couldn't see me from where they were standing. Funny, I usually keep them in this drawer right here. But once that woman found her glasses, it would all be over." Okay, so I've set up this dangerous situation. They've got a photograph of Miki. Once the woman puts her glasses on and sees the photo, she's going to say, "She's right here. She's sitting at that table," right? So we set that crisis in motion. Then Miki is looking for a way of escaping. "I searched the place for an exit other than the front door. The only one I could see was through the kitchen. It was a bit of a gamble. Make that a serious gamble. But if I could, oh, I remember, I left them in the kitchen." And then the woman goes, check, check, check. She goes walking. So I've given you this escape door, right? Oh, if she could just get through that door, she'll be able to get away. Oh, but then the woman, the absent-minded woman who's looking for her glasses, steps right in front of the door, so there's no way she can get out through the kitchen anymore. I know I had them on when I was going over that crab meat croquette recipe. Oh, this could take a while, gentlemen. I'm terribly sorry. "No rush, ma'am. I couldn't just sit there waiting. If either of those men started poking around the place, they'd have me cornered. I paid for my 300 yen tea with a 1,000 yen note, waited until the men had their backs turned to me, and, as quietly as I could, slipped into the bathroom." Okay, so she's bought herself a little bit of time. She's able to sneak into this bathroom, close the door, and we get this bird's eye view looking down at her, trapped inside the bathroom. Okay, and I've tried to show all four walls, right? Here's the door. We've got these walls here and this other wall looking down. So you have this feeling of her being trapped. You're like, how's she going to get out? And this right here is a Japanese squat toilet. Those of you who have ever encountered such a toilet, you can know what a strange experience it is to try to use one of these toilets. But I better not say very much more about that. But anyway, she's trapped inside here, and we hear the woman say, "Ah, here they are. Okay then, let's have a look at those photos." Okay, so we've kind of tightened things up to the peak of crisis. The woman's going to look at the photos, and Miki is going to get caught. And that's when I do this weird thing with the narration. It kind of becomes random. It says, "Sometimes the most important decisions in life aren't yours to make. Sometimes they're made for you by other people. Sometimes, in fact, they're made years and years ago by architects somewhere in Hokkaido who decide, in spite of the added expense, that a bathroom needs a window." And then you see the window go open up. You see Miki. She climbs out, and she goes running off to get away from them. Okay, so that's just a little scene. Shows you how I do comic book storytelling. My techniques for building suspense. One of the things that I learned from the Japanese that really changed the way I do comics is the way some of these layouts are done, especially in what we call shoujo comics, Japanese, generally romance or intended for female readership comics. Look at the layout on this page. This is basically 3 panels. You have 1 panel here, 2, 3. But instead of drawing boxes, I just sort of pull the character out and let it flow from one scene to the next. And it's a very interesting way of laying out pages. I'm so glad I discovered it. Miki Falls, I was challenging myself with almost every page to do some sort of interesting stylistic thing like that. Notice how I took one picture here and I sliced it up and created little gaps in there for us to have her frantically looking around for a way of escaping. That's not so much a manga technique. I think that may have been something that I just sort of came up with myself. I'm always fascinated with the idea of showing 2 things simultaneously, right? So I want us to see the room, but I want to see her looking around at the same time. And then this one is another one of those classic scenes where you could say this is 1, 2, 3 panels, but instead of actually drawing borders, I just sort of allow it to flow together, and hopefully, with these leaves blowing by, we get this feeling of intense speed as she's running to get back to Hiro and continue the story or make good their escape. So I hope you enjoyed that, and maybe that'll give you some ideas.